Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Darwinian Delusions. And today we're going to be discussing new atheism and communism. And with me today is Ali
Sorry, I'm just
Dawah.
having an evolution. I'll take my jacket off.
Yeah, that's it. So Ali, we were discussing this.
No, you was teaching me.
Okay, mashallah, that's a good way of putting it. So let's look at the history. What is the
Yes.
history of atheism in the 20th century that we were discussing earlier?
And now you're testing me. Okay, brothers and sisters, may Allah bless you guys, inshallah. Before I start, I want to praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful, the most just. All praises, glory, and gratitude belong to Him for the works that we're doing. Brothers and sisters, yes, it was very interesting. So I learned something really profound today. I learned the evolution of atheism.
That's a nice way of putting it.
It was exactly that. So we've got a master at evolutionary academic talks. So he was teaching us that. So we learned about the state communism, living under communism.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that living under communism, it's basically about equal rights in the context of nobody earns more than another. The state own the factories.
Yeah.
You want to go and buy bread, like you want to go to the supermarket and buy a bread. You've got a lot to choose from. In communism, you only have one bread. Yes. So that's something that we've learned. So what they governed with, or should we say institutionalized, was state atheism. So what that was is that from the moment you're born to your adult age, you are forced. So you were forced to deny the existence of God.
Yeah.
And obviously that was forced. One thing that we learned, and this happened between the 1920s around to the 1980s.
Communism.
And in 1989, when the Soviet Union collapsed, and that's when I was born.
The cause of the collapse was the Afghan War.
I was going to say it was my birth.
The Berlin Wall falling.
Yes, exactly.
1989.
Exactly. So around the 1980s that's when the atheists, where it began from the 1920s onwards. So what we learned from that is that when you enforce people to something, what happened is that it didn't go around this borders, meaning that it didn't really have a big influence where you didn't see organic growth.
Viral,
you didn't see Afghanistan or Pakistan or surrounding countries being affected and thinking, oh, this is an amazing way of life. Let's adopt it. They didn't do that. And also what happened is when the Soviet Union collapsed is that you saw people going back to their asl, their origins, which is believing in God, which we see today, like Putin, the leader of Russia.
Yeah, he believes in God. Yeah.
Exactly, he's been re-elected, and they're quite fun. I think they're what they call the Christian sect.
Orthodox.
The Orthodox, yeah.
Those are the ones that exist in Russia. It's come back big time.
You know the ones who take Mary as the Catholics. I mean, the Catholics are
they're Orthodox.
Yeah, the Orthodox.
Orthodox. Yeah.
So, but this is what it shows you in a matter of what 30 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yep. They went back to religion.
They've gone back to religion. So that's something that we learned. And bear in mind, the arguments that they were using back then are the same arguments. But what's changed? Let's move forward to 2006, brothers and sisters. In 2006, with the new atheism, Richard Dawkins in his book about the God delusion, to be honest, is actually the God solution. But that's another topic there. What happened is, brothers and sisters, now, before, what did we say? It was forced. It was forced. With this specific new atheism, it's not forced.
Yeah.
And it has no borders. As you can see on the map, Russia is somewhere. Where's Russia?
Up there.
Yeah, Russia's there. Okay. So it was stuck to its borders. When the internet age came, the technology age came, it went global. Yeah. So their marketing strategy was a bit different. So it's the same arguments, but packaged in a different way. So this is globally has affected everybody. But what's profound is this. The arguments are the same. Evolution, the problem of evil, la-di-la-di-la-di, all this kind of... Yes. What's different? What has changed? What has changed from the 1920s to 2006, 2020, 2021? What has it changed? The same arguments. Yeah. Yes, they're not forced. But the point here is this, brothers and sisters. At the age that we live in, what has been more appealing is that chocolate bar that has that half-naked woman. Now, what are you talking about, Rabbi?
Packaging.
You're talking about Russia. You're all over the place. Now you're talking about chocolate bars with half-naked girls. What are you on about? Well, let me tell you what I'm on about. The freedom of what? Have intimacy with whoever you want. Eat what you want, whenever you want. No regulations, no laws. You are a free man. Hippie. Woo! Fly. Jump out the window. Don't jump out the window, of course. Do what you want. So now it was done in a way where in communism, in communist Russia and China didn't collapse, but in communist Russia, you had certain regulations. You know, you couldn't just go there and just do as you please.
It wasn't appealing. It's boring.
It was boring.
Communism didn't give you this. It didn't have the desire. It didn't appeal to the nafs.
Exactly, and a lot of people that join atheism, especially in I would say certain countries, it's the whole. It's like a fashion. It's like a trend. Yeah, I'm an atheist as well. Yeah, I don't believe in that silly stories. It's arrogance.
It's the same arguments.
But
it's more effective because of the
exactly. So what's changed today, brothers and sisters, is that it has been packaged in a way where you get all you can eat, like bundles, deals. Yeah, somewhere like, okay, unlimited minutes, unlimited text, unlimited data, hotspot, blah blah. It's all in there. There's no limits anymore. Yeah, whatever you want, whenever you want, everything. Fast food, fast cars, Amazon Prime, anything you want. It's like whenever you want. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the way it's been packaged is in that way that a Muslim who wants to commit these sins, going and having girlfriends and boyfriends and no boundaries, drinking what I want whenever I want, which destroys the soul, where we're seeing another rise of atheism with Sam Harris and the rest of spirituality.
Yeah, because it's dead.
Because it's dead. It's like, Robert, they realize that this isn't working. Suicide rates, mental illness. So it's really backfiring on them. So they're finding a solution in a way of spirituality. So we can see, brothers and sisters, we are slowly seeing the destruction that is caused along its way. So that's what I learned with Ustad Sabur. May Allah bless him, inshallah. It was actually very profound. I found it very, I actually liked the way the method you taught. I think I was a bit skeptical about it at the beginning, but I think it worked really well because it was very nice. It was to the point, and this is something that I can use in my dawah. So that's what I learned.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of a friend of mine. So we studied at the same school in Oxford. He went off and became Muslim. He used to be an atheist. He became a Muslim, and then he went to study in Egypt. And what's very interesting is that when he met me a few years ago and he was telling me about what the scholars say in Egypt about this particular issue, remember the scholars are the best of the Muslims. And the scholars basically say that, you see, the atheism of the communists, the state atheism, that was using the same arguments that the new atheism of Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Christopher Hitchens, and Lawrence Krauss is using, except the new atheism is very attractive because it appeals to your desire, sexual freedom, freedom of speech, just total everything about do what you want, eat what you want, interest, no interest, whatever, do whatever you want, right? And the old atheism of the communists with the same arguments, problem of evil, evolution, design argument, chance, all the rest, necessity. The reason why this is attractive is because it applies to the desire when the other one did not apply to the desire. It was purely a boring type of atheism. So the arguments themselves never carried the atheism. Now, the implications, Ali, I want to discuss this. What is the implications of the fact that?
The implications is the following. If the arguments are the same, and at one moment of time, people are not appealed with it, and in another moment of time, they appealed with it, the point of atheism is never rational. It is not logical. It has never been, and because if it was, you would not be coming and telling us something came from nothing. Or you wouldn't make those silly. I mean, like William Lane Craig, which he himself, we have issues with. Ustad Hamza's just done a video about that. You need to watch that. But when I saw his discussion with Cosmic Skeptic, I mean, I was like, wow, and he made a very good point. Even Cosmic Skeptic is fitra even ignited in a moment, and he realized, so it's not logical, and we can see that again and again. And once we make these arguments, they can't answer it, it goes back to the moral. But Islam says this. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. What are you talking about?
Not only that, what's very interesting is that, look, Islam gives you restrictions which atheism doesn't. So you can't have open relationships like sex before marriage, sex outside of that union, all these restrictions. You want to do a business, Islam says you can't have interest-based loans. Men can't wear gold. It's just these things, and these things which are very much attractive to the desire. And you have to pray and you have to do these things, yet Islam is still spreading. So even though atheism is trying to attract people to its nafs, it goes back to Ali's point that it's still dry. So that's why they need
It's a dead thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what I wanted to do with Ali was basically make these short videos where we discuss the sort of things that we are going over. And I'm very proud of him today because we covered the history. Yeah?
I'm actually so.
And he has a book that he's going to be reading.
Where is it?
It's in the other room. Yeah, maybe you can go get it. So what we're going to do is Ali's actually going to start reading from that book. And we're going to start doing some live sessions on it and doing like a book review. And I'm going to get him to like highlight part of the book. Ali, is it there on the... Have you found it?
Yeah, I know where to put it.
Okay. So Ali's going to be doing is chapter by chapter. He's going to read this book and he is going to be explaining to us Darwin and God, right?
So and I learned something last week, just brief discussion, that what's his name? Guy's name? Richard Darwin?
No, Charles Darwin.
Charles Darwin actually believed in God.
Yeah, very interesting.
That's
very interesting.
You see, this is very interesting because a lot of atheists that you talk to, who talk about evolution, they have no bloody idea about that.
Yeah.
The way they talk is like this guy is the founding father of atheism.
Yeah.
The guy was an atheist himself. Yes, he was. Yeah. He had a moment of agnosticism, but he never denied the existence of a higher intelligent being.
Yeah.
And so this is how you know a lot of people are just jumping on the trend, you know, and that's exactly what's happening.
So in this book, we have Darwin losing his faith, losing his religion, doubts that he had, but the fact that he still never become an atheist, and he believed in God when his theory came out. So this book, we're going to be doing reviews of it. Ali's going to be reading it, and we're going to be giving some thoughts of ours on it. Just to end upon, any last thoughts, Ali, on why it's important to know these things and do the sort of training that we're doing?
Yeah, it's very important, because people need to understand that these things need dedication and time, and it is hard. But what you need to understand is what we put out there is not something that drops on our laps. And alhamdulillah, we have our teachers. We have different teachers for different subjects, and it's very important to be well grounded, because at the end of the day, I already use that term, but alhamdulillah, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the soul doctors in the context, and we're kind of soul doctors because you have people who, physically deal with the body, the anatomy, the heart, etc. But brothers and sisters, who's shouting? Okay, I'm getting scared.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I was thinking, there's some jinn inside. There's some jinn inside the building.
Yeah, they do ruqya down the corridor.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, one of the jinns.
But you haven't done ruqya for a while.
So alhamdulillah, it's important for us to connect with people's souls and bring them back. Which our job is just to reignite the fitrah. It's what it is. It's like the heart. The heart is the main part of the body, and it's very important to take care of the heart, look after the heart, so it maintains the body. This fitrah is that as well, to maintain and nourish the soul. Is tawheed, and this is just the method. We're learning this just as a method to call back to tawheed. A lot of people have a misunderstanding of thinking,
these are getting rid of doubts.
No, it is, but people think, okay, you don't talk about tawheed. What was you expecting me to say? Tawheed 24/7, tawheed, shirk. Do you think this is it? Tawheed is one's adab, akhlaq, the way you carry yourself. That can be tawheed. Reading stuff like this can be calling people to tawheed. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So look, the point Ali's trying to make here, and I think this is very important to understand, and I get this question sometimes: why do you challenge atheism? Why do you spend time reading their books? Why don't you just speak about why we believe in one God? Yeah, we should, but you need an avenue to do that, and you need an avenue to do that. What's the avenue? Avenue is good manners. Avenue is knowing how to get rid of the doubts, right? So it's important that when we're calling to Islam, we make sure we destroy those doubts. Whether those doubts about evolution or atheism, whatever it is. Today we did history, and I think that was a very interesting one. Tomorrow, next week, we're also going to be doing some history. We're going to be covering atheism, feminism, scientism, all these different Darwinism as well, with all these different types of isms, and even liberalism, and fundamentally looking at why Islam is superior. Because Allah says something beautiful in the Quran. Allah says, "It is He who sent His religion with guidance and truth." So it is He who sent His religion. I've forgotten the verse.
Roughly.
So that it may prevail over all systems, and enough is Allah for a witness. I haven't quoted this verse in a long time, so I've forgotten it. But basically what Allah's saying is, look, whatever it is, it's atheism, communism, Taoism, Christianity, Judaism, capitalism, whatever it is, liberalism, Islam as a religion is superior, and Islam will intellectually conquer from the perspective that it has superior arguments, and that's what we're trying to do. in our capacity. So Jazakallah khair.
Exactly, brothers and sisters. If you want, you can join us in Leicester Square every Saturday. We try to go there and do dawah. If you have any doubts, want to come talk to us, feel free, inshallah. Salam Corner, and Brother Sabur comes as well every now and then. We'll see you then. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khair.